Hello, Cancers, and welcome to this, your early April reading. The intention behind this reading is to cover the time period between April 1st and April the 15th. For those of you who are returning, thank you so much. And for those of you who are new here, a very warm welcome. I just want to go through a couple little pieces of housekeeping before we get started. First of all, timing. The intention behind this video is to cover the time period between April 1st and April 15th, as I already mentioned. However, from time to time, timing doesn't line up when you consult a psychic, an intuitive, tarot cards, oracle cards, and so on. Why? There's actually two reasons why this happens. The first reason is because when you consult a psychic or a tarot reader, they are tapping into the ethereal realm or the unseen realm. It's on a different plane of existence from us here in the earthly realm. And time moves at a different rate of speed over there than it does here. And therefore, sometimes it can be a little bit difficult to try and line things up exactly. Some psychics and tarot readers are very, very good at this, and some of them aren't. It's just that simple. The second reason why sometimes things don't appear to line up is this: you have free will, Cancer. All of you have free will. You can make choices and decisions. So when you consult a tarot reader or a psychic, what you're actually doing is getting a reading from right then and there in that moment. So the psychic is tapping into your energy and the trajectory that you are intending on taking your life in a single moment, that moment when you are sitting in front of the psychic. But what can happen is the psychic's going to predict something for, let's say, to happen in 2 weeks. And you're going to go, no, not interested in that. And then you use your free will and you change the trajectory. You change your mind. And as soon as you begin to change your mind and do things differently from the way that you thought you were going to be doing things when you initially walked in to get the psychic reading, all of a sudden the outcome is different or the timeline is different. Okay, so I just wanted to clarify that and bring that up because it's a question that I get asked all the time. Okay, Cancers. I work with a number of different tarot decks as well as oracle card decks. As I'm pulling cards for you, I'm going to leave them face down so that as I'm going through your reading, I'm going to turn the cards over one by one, and that way it allows more of the psychic or intuitive insights to flow in rather than me already seeing what's coming up. And I find that this is a more effective way to tap into your energies on a more deep level. Okay, so Cancer, where are we going? The first cards that we're going to pull for you is where you are at now. All right, we're going over to the fairies here. The fairies have wanted to tell everybody where they're at. I think for almost every single reading that I've done, the fairies have been the first deck, which is interesting to me. Okay. All right, well, that was interesting. And we have one last card. Nope, two last cards in my hand. Okay. That doesn't usually happen. All right. So we have 3 cards for where you're at now, Cancer. Let's have a look at what you're going to be focusing on. What is your focus for the first half of April 2023? We've got 1, 2 cards out. Oh, more. Okay. That was another 6 cards on the floor. So what I'm going to do, because there are so many cards freaking out for you, I'm going to pick them up and try and stack them back in the order in which they came out. And we're just going to intuitively tap in for a moment and see if I'm actually meant to read all of these cards here. Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm back. I'm not sure exactly which order these fell in. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We've got 9 cards here of things that you're focusing on. Cancer, if you are actually focusing on 9 things at the moment, I'm suspecting that part of what's going to come up for you in this reading is that your energies are really scattered. So we did have 4 initial cards come out. Let me just tap in. Okay. I'm picking up that only one more of these cards is meant to be yours, that the ones that flew out on the floor, there's only one more here. Okay. Which card is it? That one. That one just acted really weird. Okay. Let's have a look at what your difficult influences are going to be, Cancer, for the first half of April. Difficult influences. Oh, interesting. Difficult influences for Cancer, April 1st through the 15th. Okay, nothing wanted to come out. Difficult influences. Right. Anything? Apparently you have no difficult influences, Cancer. All right, we're going to go through this deck one more time, and if nothing pops out, then this wasn't your deck. All right. Difficult influences for Cancer, April 1st through the 15th. Nope. No. All right. Oh, there we go. Just hadn't got there yet. Okay. Now we're going to pull a card that I refer to as this makes sense. And I like pulling this card because it kind of ties other things together. Quite often, it's a card that has almost an identical meaning to one of the first few cards that we've pulled up and already read. And that way it gives us a double reinforcement of the messages that are coming in. So let's have a This Makes Sense card for Cancer for April. There's one. And wow, we got a bunch here. And another one. Okay. Interesting. So the way that they fell out on my desk, the very first card and the very last card fell out together. So I'm going to actually put them down together and read them together, because I think that that's important. Oftentimes where they land indicates where they want to be read. You know, sometimes they want to be read next to another card because it gives additional meaning. We're going to pull out cards for unexpected insights or influences. Unexpected insights or influences. Is that card actually going to fall? Yeah. Okay. Unexpected insights and influences. Anything else? Yep. Okay. And is that card actually going to fall? There's a card sitting right on top. I don't know if you can see it. Are you going to fall? No, it decided not to. Okay. This was actually that. We do have a reversed card as well. It's come out upside down. Sorry, that showed up right side up for you, but it's upside down for me when, anyway, the way it's going to sit on my desk. All right, and the final cards that we're going to pull for you, Cancer, are the prediction or the projection of where you are anticipated to be at the end period for the timing of this reading, which would be where are you going to be at between, you know, the 14th and the 16th of April. What's going to be influencing the Cancers? What's the overall outcome? Overall outcome of this card reading. Interesting. It's really interesting because for most of the signs that I've been doing, the cards have just been wild, like 25, 30 cards coming out, just crazy. And now we've twice had cards not want to come out. Okay, we've got one card out. It is on the floor. I'll have to pick that up in just a moment. Is there anything else for the general overall outcome? That's on the other side of my desk. And another card. Okay. That was the first card. This was the second card and the third card. Okay. Cancer. Interesting. Okay, so you have both the 2 and the 3 of autumn. The autumn suit in this particular deck, the fairy deck, represents pentacles. Pentacles is also part of the element of earth, and it corresponds to work, job, career, or finances. And for the vast majority of us, Cancer, we are going through a huge shift with regards to our finances. World finances are, shall we say, in upheaval at this time. So whenever we have a 2 come up, it's an indication that there's a duality or that we have choices that we need to make. And so this card coming up as where you're at now here at the end of March while I'm recording this video, this card is telling me that you have some choices to make. In all likelihood, it's probably, an either or situation as opposed to having a whole bunch of things up in the air that you're juggling, specifically related to money. Now, I do want to say that I am picking up intuitively that Cancer, you have a lot going on right now here at the end of March and going into early April. You've got a lot of balls up in the air that you're attempting to juggle right now, but specifically relating to money, job, or career. I'm picking up that there is this duality going on and that you're being asked to make a decision. The 3 of autumn or 3 of pentacles is basically saying, so when we read the tarot, the lowest number or the ace is about new beginnings, and the 2 is about stepping into that new beginning and making some choices and decisions. When we get to the 3 of that suit, it's about, okay, I've made a decision based on the 2, and now I'm moving into the 3, and it's time for, it's time for me to make a commitment and begin to prioritize and become passionate about what it is that I'm doing, specifically related to work or career as well as money. The 3 of autumn can also indicate that you are at that stage of something new where you're being compensated for what it is that you're doing. So if you're moving into a new job, for example, we know if you're self-employed, the first little while that you're self-employed, you're probably not making a whole whack of money because you're establishing yourself and you have to build that reputation, and people need to discover who you are and what it is that you do. But as you step up and step in further into that role and into this 3 of autumn, you get to that point where you begin to be compensated. The Princess of Spring, also known as the Page of Wands or Princess of Wands, is a card of going after your dreams. And it's a card of timing. Optimistic, enthusiastic are the words that come up for this card. And this is a card telling you that when you finish at this crossroads and you make your decision and your commitment, when you're done with the duality, go after what you want with passion, put your efforts in, and you will begin to start to see some of the rewards. And this card is reinforcing that for you, Cancer, and saying, continue the hard work. Just because you finally got your first paycheck doesn't mean you can start to rest on your laurels. This card is saying you still need to be going after your dreams in a very active way. In your focus, Okay, you do have one card that has come up inverted. So we will read it as the inverse meaning. What you are focusing on. This is not good. Slowing down. Okay. These first cards that you had specifically relating to money and career are indicating you need to be continuing to step forward. And yet, in your focus, the very first card that you got is slowing down. That doesn't make sense. If you've got the momentum and the ball rolling, why would you slow down? For a very small minority of you, the slowing down is because you just feel like you've made it. And you're not really feeling the motivation to go forward. For the vast majority of you, Cancer, what I'm picking up is this slowing down is because you're beginning to question, did I make the right decision? Am I on the right path? You're going back into this Two of Pentacles. You're going back into, is this the right path? And we do slow down when we begin to question if the decision we made was the right one. The next card that you have is Beyond Illusion. You'll notice here that you've got the butterfly, which is a representation of coming into a place of maturity. You've got the third eye open and fully in communication with the ethereal or the upper realms, your higher self. So these two cards together are telling me that what you're actually progressing towards is an exploration of, did I make the right choice? Being able to see beyond the illusion. Now, interestingly, the next card that you have right next to seeing beyond the illusion is a card called No Thingness. It's the number 5. And this card is about questioning everything. It's about recognizing that much of our life has been an illusion. We are born a blank slate. That's how babies are born. And then mom influences them to believe certain things certain ways. And then dad influences them to believe certain things certain ways. And then religion. And it doesn't matter which religion or whether you're even not that religious, but there's a whole lot out there about religion. We can't go through our lives sticking our heads in the sand, believing that we know nothing about religion, regardless of our own religious status. But we all learn a little bit about a lot of different religions in life. And all of this influences us. What this card, when it comes up, particularly in your focus section of your reading, Cancer, is asking you to do is question everything. And I do mean everything. This is a card about belief systems. Why do you poke a hole in a potato before you bake it in the oven? That one is kind of self-explanatory if you've ever baked a potato without poking a hole in the skin of it first. But question it. Why? Why do we eat certain kinds of berries off trees? Who was the first human who walked up to a tree with a red berry on it and said, oh, I think I'll put this in my mouth and see whether I die or not? Question everything. Why do we believe something is good or evil? That's what this card is calling you to focus upon during the first half of April. And this card is probably one of the deepest cards in the tarot, especially in these changing times, Cancer. And the fact that it came out right next to a card which is indicating that you are going to have this awakening and you are going to see beyond the illusion. Absolutely amazing, amazing. I wish I was a Cancer right now. Okay. You have another Pentacles here. You've got Pentacles coming up all over the place. This is the Four of Pentacles. It's represented by the Miser. The message on this card, and I am going to just really quickly say, Cancer, you might want to have just a quick peek at Leo as well, because Leo had the Four of Pentacles come up, not only in where are they now, but what they're focusing on. They had a double Four of Pentacles come up. So you might want to just have a quick peek over at their video. The Four of Pentacles represents making sure that we are in balance when it comes to our finances, making sure that we don't have more going out than what we have coming in. This is a card, 2 + 2 = 4. This is a card of making sure that 2 + 2 = 4 and not 5. Making sure that if you have 2 coming in, you don't have 5 going out. Okay, so have a good look at your budget this month, Cancer. The next card that we have for you, interestingly, is a repeat. However, it's inverted of this card. This is your Three of Pentacles, Three of Autumn, with where you're at now is about following your passions. Now, remember what I said, that I was picking up for some of you. The reason that you got this slowing down card is because you're questioning, did I make the right choice? That makes sense when your focus is an inverted Three of Pentacles. Okay. Did you follow your own guidance? Did you follow the guidance of others? Was the guidance of others in alignment with what you believe? Okay. That's what this card means when it's next to this one as well. Where did the guidance that you followed come from? Did it come from within you or from outside of you? And does that guidance still resonate with you? So Cancer, you've got some pretty big concepts and focuses here for the first part of April. All right, let's have a look at your difficult influences. Your difficult influences, you have 2 here that have come up. One of them is balance. So this card coming up in the difficult influences is indicating that you're probably lacking balance in your life. Oh, wait a minute. Let's hope that the lacking balance is not related to this Four of Pentacles. Because if this lacking balance is related to the Four of Pentacles, you don't have a balanced budget. So watch for that, Cancer. The other meaning of it not being in balance is when the no thingness comes up. Incidentally, this is related to the Hierophant. I was trying to avoid having to say that word because I hate pronouncing it. So I'm only going to say it once. But when this card comes up and we're questioning authority, we're questioning morally what's right and what's wrong. We're questioning why we believe what's right and what's wrong. We're starting to see that some of what we were fed as far as our belief systems go was an illusion. That can throw us out of balance in a big way. Because when the earth is not what we thought it was, when our life is not what we thought it was, chances are, Cancer, you might feel a little weak in the knees. Okay. The other card that you have coming up here in your difficult influences is the Mountain. It's about setting intentions, not surprisingly. Okay. If you've got indications coming up that your budget might not be balanced, that you're feeling unbalanced yourself, if you are questioning morality and questioning the illusion that we've been living in, then it's not surprising that you're having trouble setting intentions. Okay? Not surprising at all. How are you supposed to find your intentions and find your direction in life if your whole world is being turned upside down by you questioning the morality of things and questioning the legitimacy of what you thought was true? Okay, Cancer. So interesting. Okay, you have a card here, the very last card in your This Makes Sense. You are the 5th or the 6th sign this month to have this card come out. So I'll get to that in just a moment. And this card as well. I knew there was 2 cards in here that at least 4 or 5 signs have had. So I will get to actually reading those in just a moment. But you will remember that when I first turned these cards over, I said that there was a card that came out early and one that came out late, but then they fell on the table in such a way to be read together. You got both a broken arrow as well as the arrow. And they kind of asked to be read right next to each other. But one of them is upside down and one of them is right side up. Interesting, right? Okay, so first of all, let's start with the meaning of a broken arrow. A broken arrow is about peace. So way back when, if there were tribes that were warring between each other, and the one tribe goes into council and says, why are we fighting? Oh yeah. Why are we fighting? Who said war was a good idea? Is that in alignment with my beliefs? Am I okay with fighting a war that is not mine? All questions that are probably bubbling and brewing in your mind right now, Cancer. And then you end up getting a broken arrow. Interesting. Because the broken arrow is about peace. And what the broken arrow represents is when a warring tribe finally said, that's it, we're done, we're out, we're not fighting anymore, they would break an arrow in half and they would present it at the entrance to the village that they had been warring with. And it was a sign of peace. It's like a peace offering. It's kind of like that, waving a white flag and saying, okay, we're done. Like, let's let bygones be bygones. Now, it's interesting that you have the arrow card upside down right next to the broken arrow. So if this had been right side up, the interesting meaning would be, if this was right side up, that you're looking for peace while at the same time keeping your shield up. Doesn't sound very peaceful, right? That sounds counterintuitive. You're not going to go into a tribe waving a white flag or having a broken arrow saying, I want peace, and still holding up your shield saying, I don't trust you. But instead, what you actually got, Cancer, was this, which is telling me that you're not in agreement with fighting anymore. And you're also not going to walk around with your shields up in that place of distrust. Okay. You also have the Mirror Guardian asking you to take time and reflect. This is a card that makes sense. Why? Because let me tell you, if you're dealing with this, you're going to need time to sit back and relax. You are most likely moving in a new direction. Not surprising, right? As you grapple with these questions, you cannot be the same person. You have to move in a new direction. You're being asked to hold space for others. Be that druid, be that pillar for others. And the last card that you have in this makes sense is the Stargazer. This card is asking you to set your sights higher. Okay. It's interesting the order that these cards came out, because the first cards that come out indicate that there's a little bit of a war going on potentially in yourself as you question your own morals and your own ideals. And the final card that's coming out is asking you to set your sights higher. When you have a grand awakening, Cancer, you don't have a choice but to change. And that gives you the opportunity to go, wow, I've been living average and I am so much more than that. Let's have a look at your unexpected insights. Unexpected, okay, you have the Chariot in reverse. The Chariot in reverse is indicating, Cancer, that during the first 15 days of April, you're going to be being asked to slow down a little bit. You're going to be being asked to really, really tap into what you are meant to be focusing on. Both this, you're also meant to be focusing on balancing your budget and your numbers. And so therefore, slow down a little bit. It's okay to slow down. Normally this card is about something rushing in towards you, about you wanting to be in the spotlight. Reversed is saying, you don't want to be in the spotlight right now. You don't want things rushing at you right now, Cancer. You have the Balance card. Are we surprised? No. This card is indicating that as you move through this change and this shift, you are ultimately going to find balance. Now, this card asks you to take everybody's opinions, thoughts, suggestions into account. But true balance is found, Cancer, right here. Okay. It's nowhere else, and it's definitely not outside of yourself. So don't seek outside of yourself. And when you learn that lesson, which is indicated by the unexpected insights and influences, that you will learn that lesson this month, things are going to really, really change and shift for you. You've got the 9 of Spring, also known as the 9 of Wands. This is about protecting the fruits of your labors, making sure that all of the hard work that you are putting in is protected. I'm getting another intuitive download here about what this is about for you. Okay. When you change and shift and you wake up from the illusion and you question, going back to this, and you question everything and you realize that you're a round peg and you're never going to fit into that square hole. Okay. There is going to be a faction of your group, friends, family, relatives, workmates, who are going to try to put you back into the system. And they're going to try and put you back into their beliefs. Because if they're still living in the illusion, misery loves company. Right? If you've ever quit a habit, drinking, smoking, I don't know, gone vegetarian and most of your friends still eat meat, whatever the case may be, the people that are continuing to drink or smoke, and I'm not talking about excess and addicts and over the top here. I'm talking about just average people who go out for a drink from time to time. Average people who smoke, average people who eat meat. Okay. I'm using these as examples. Have you ever noticed that if you choose to no longer partake in those things, those people are confused by your decision? Those people encourage you. Oh, come on, just have a drink. Just have a smoke. Oh, come on. Why don't you eat meat anymore? It's just me. You used to eat it. Okay. They're confused. And on a deep, deep level, they cannot understand or integrate your decision. It's your choice. And what's coming up for me intuitively, and this is outside of what the card specifically means, but part of the meaning of the card is to protect the fruits of your labors. And part of this is a labor, and it's a labor of love, going within and discovering what's true and what's right and what's real for you without all the outside influences. When you do that, this card is telling me that one of the unexpected influences that's going to come marching into your life, Cancer, are those people who are going to question why you changed. And it will push your buttons. It will push your buttons and it will leave you feeling off balanced. Okay. Just be prepared for that. The final card that you have here in your unexpected is sudden and unexpected changes. It's the Prince or Knight of Winter Swords. And this is a card of sudden and unexpected changes. Well, honestly, based on the rest of your reading, sudden and unexpected changes aren't really unexpected influences, are they? Okay. How are you feeling as the outcome? Is this surprising? I think I just went through this, but it bears repeating. This is going to cause you to change. I'm sensing that you have balance twice in your reading. You have balance here in your difficult influences, and you have balance in your unexpected insights. But it's really, really not surprising that the outsider card came up and you feel like an outsider when all of your friends and family and the people that were closest to you begin to question your choices and your decisions. So the general overall outcome come April 14th, 15th for you, Cancer, is you are going to feel like an outsider. Is that a bad thing? No, it's absolutely not. So long as you followed through with being true to yourself, it's actually not going to matter. The next card that you have is the Queen of Wands. Beautiful card to come up for your general overall outcome. The Queen of Wands is an abundant queen who shares with abundant. And what this card is telling me for you is that, sorry, I've got a kink in my back. I'm just trying to work it out. What this card is telling me, Cancer, is that general overall outcome for you come mid-April is that you're going to be in a place where you're going to be so super excited about these changes and these learnings and the realization that you're so much powerful than you thought you were. You're actually going to want to share that information. This is about sharing information, not sharing financial wealth. And the final card, the ultimate card in new beginnings, the Zero card from the tarot, also known as the Fool. Beautiful, Cancer, absolutely beautiful. And this is an indication that as you go through the 1st through the 15th of April, you are going to experience some closures. As you learn and as you really, really come into your own, there's going to be this reawakening, and it's going to permit or allow you this brand new beginning. Have fun with your new beginning. Okay? Don't be foolish about it. The Fool is not about being foolish. Okay? It's about being smart. The Fool most often on tarot cards is represented by a court jester, someone who's dressed up like a court jester. Most of the time, back in the days when they had court jesters, the court jester was highly, highly intelligent, although he acted like he was very silly and not intelligent. But he was intelligent enough to be able to push the buttons and push the boundaries of the elite just far enough to make them laugh, but not far enough to make them want to get angry. Okay, so the Fool is actually very intelligent, and it's this cycle, this progression, Cancer, that you're going through, and you're having this opportunity to take your new knowledge and be reborn. So on that happy note, Cancer, thank you so much. I'm going to leave off this reading, and I hope that you'll join me again in the middle of April for our next reading. Thank you.